Hey everybody, welcome here to another awesome episode. I've got the amazing David Peters. He's the co-founder and CEO of Construction Clock. Welcome here, David. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing great, Derek. Nice to be here, and I'm excited to chat with you today.
Yeah, likewise. Really excited to get into this and learn how to, manage and track employee time, which is so essential to any, ongoing construction project. So, can you tell us a bit about yourself, your background, and the idea of how Construction Clock came into being?
Yeah, so I spent the better part of my life in the trade. I've been doing this for about 20 years now. So I built my parents' house when I was 16 or 17 years old, and that kind of got the bug in me. I loved project-based work. I loved being outside for the most part, and I loved the skills that I was learning, especially at such a young age. To be able to do that variety of work when you're building a house, you're doing a little bit of everything. So I got into construction just by my dad forcing me to show up every day and put on a tool belt. And then when I finished that house, then I jumped into concrete work, and we were doing driveways and big parking lots and things like that. So I spent the better part of my 20s just going through different types of trades. I did concrete framing. I built some barns. I built some steel buildings. And I got a nice variety of work in the trades. And then I kind of figured out by my mid 20s what I wanted to focus on, which was I love doing renovations. There was something so rewarding about renovating an existing building, just watching it change and coming up with a plan. And obviously in renovations, the plan, it never goes to plan. Every single day you have to deal with a number of different challenges with the trades, with the customer. And so I got into renovations, and then I started my own company, and we grew that business, and we were renovating cottages in Canada. And it was amazing and difficult. And we deal with a lot of cold and snow in the winter and really hot in the summer. And so you're just dealing with all these different environments. And then you're kind of in remote areas. So you're figuring out how to bring all this material up there, how to get people up there, and just trying to time everything correctly. And I thrived on those challenges. I was like, I'm a project manager, and I'm putting my tool belt on every single day. And I'm designing with the customer, and you're constantly planning and replanning. So I really enjoyed that whole aspect where we took on a project, and that project would change, and you would add to the scope of work, or you'd pull out from the scope of work because you run out of budget, and you always have these different constraints that you're dealing with, and it was an amazing decade of doing that. That kind of built my skill set. And when we started this company a year and a half ago, I treated this construction tech startup company very much like the way I treated a construction company. We needed very specific trades to build our product. And so I went out and I looked for those specific trades, which are developers and marketing people. So I treated it like I was starting a new construction company. And so we built a team, and the focus and the goal was to solve big challenges for the construction industry, and specifically for subcontractors. Exactly who I was a small renovation contractor with 5 to 12 employees, and there was a ton of pain points I dealt with as a small contractor, and I wanted to solve those challenges, and technology allows us to do that. And so having a deep understanding of those pain points, we started building what is now Construction Clock, and we have solved a few major pain points for these customers. And a year and a half later, we're growing rapidly, and it's been an incredible journey the last 18 months to build this out. And I think most importantly is having construction companies, having contractors reach out to us, and they've never met us, we've never met them, and them thanking us for building an app that has changed the way that they can run their business and run their teams. That is super rewarding for us, and that's kind of what gives us energy to do this every single day. So yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, like you said, anybody in construction knows the challenges. And it's one of the things I think that draws a lot of strong people to construction is being able to, they're driven by those challenges, but also just the variety of doing different things every day. And there's so much variety in the different types of work, but also just the management, the tech side of things, and just so much stuff. And kudos to you to build a tech and start challenging some of those pain points that every contractor has with managing the people on site. So that said, I think like any manager knows the difficulty of trying to track and keep track of employees and having employees actually fill out time tracking and any kind of forms or type of paperwork. So how does Construction Clock make the manager's life easier, the field crew's life easier, and ultimately the owner's life easier?
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. We didn't get into construction so we could fill out paperwork. And I have never met one employer, one company that loved doing it or even stayed on top of it. It's always something that's kind of a secondary focus because you had to do it. So what we've built is kind of an industry first for the construction company, which is we are a time tracking app that you never have to use. And so for employees that are going to different projects and they're at a project for a day or a week or a month, they show up on site, it automatically clocks them in. When they get to site, they don't even need the internet to do it. We have companies that work in remote areas with no internet, and it'll still clock them in automatically based on their geolocation. And when they leave site at the end of the day, it automatically clocks them out. So we completely eliminate the need for tracking your hours because the app does it automatically. And that has been a very challenging solution to build. We built it and then we had to perfect it and in all these different scenarios. And so now we have this fantastic app that auto clocks you in and out. And so for the employee, they never have to fill out time cards anymore. The hours are going to be 100% accurate. And, if somebody's phone dies or something like that, the manager can go in and edit the clock out time. The other thing that our app does extremely well is it tracks all the hours for a specific project. I think a big thing that contractors fail to do effectively is project cost. Or some of us learn it way too late in our construction career where it's like, oh, how much money are we actually making on these projects? And labor is, up to 50% of that. And so we track all the hours for a specific project. When you set up that project, you can put in a budget. So either we have $10,000 allotted for labor on this project, or we have 155 man hours on this project. Our app tracks all of the labor hours and the labor dollars in a specific project. And then there's a report that's generated at the end of that project so that you get a breakdown of this is what you budgeted and this is what the actual costs were. So those would be two of the major things that we do extremely well. Some of the other things that our app does is we integrate it into QuickBooks. So we work with QuickBooks Online. So now when you're exporting hours for a pay period for all your different employees, you can export that directly into QuickBooks. And then on the QuickBooks side, you can just run payroll. You don't need to go in there and manually add everyone's hours. It's automatically generated. So that's a wonderful feature that we have. And then outside of that, employees can take photos, they can take notes of the project, and they can check off tasks. So a manager can go inside of a project and have all these different tasks that need to be done. Like in renovations, it would be like a hit list at the end. And there's always like 100 hit list items that need to be completed, before the final turnover. And that can all be added to the app. And the employees can check that off one by one as they finish it. So yeah, we have amazing time tracking that's automated, but then we also have amazing ways to track the project with photos and notes and tasks. And the manager or the owner of the company can see all of that live. So anytime they pull out their app, they can see where all their employees are at any given time and where each project is sitting at. So they can open up a project and see how many hours they're into that project, the latest photos that were taken, the latest tasks that have been completed, and they can get a snapshot, a live snapshot into the status of each project. And I think that's a massive upside that subcontractors have not had access to in the past. There's different, manual entry time tracking apps that are out there, but what we've built is a project and time tracking app, and that's fully automated. So it eliminates a lot of the errors that filling out a timesheet may give you.
Yeah, very cool. And yeah, taking something that's kind of tedious and doesn't usually get done properly and automating it. I think automatic is one of the favorite words of any business owner. One less thing to think about every day. And employees as well, right? Like they want to show up and do their work and go home, and Bob's your uncle, right? They don't want to be filling up paperwork or keeping track of hours and things like that, but still have access to it and all the reporting, which is great. So, we learn through mistakes, and as any, good business owner, I'm sure you've made tons. Can you pick out, a mistake or two that you've made, either starting this business or your contracting business, and how you kind of overcame that and learned from it?
Yeah. So when I think about some of the mistakes I made as a contractor, and even in this business now, is assuming that the project's going to go faster than it actually does. And so those were things that I constantly got wrong. And as projects got larger, the scope of work gets so much bigger. And when you're estimating, when I was filling out a Gantt chart and just kind of breaking down everything, I feel like my optimistic self would always think the project was going to get done so much quicker than it actually did. And so that really hurt me in a few projects. And that hurt me in a number of ways. One is I'm planning out projects back to back. And then when this project goes long, then it affected the next couple of projects. And I think the mistake of not learning fast enough how long my previous projects took so that I could better estimate future projects. I think that was a big mistake that I made, and constantly feeling like I had to play catch up, which led to, working lots of overtime and weekends. And that definitely brought down the morale of my employees at times. And I think that was a mistake that I should have learned from a lot sooner. And it took me years to kind of figure that part of my business out. So I guess to summarize that, I wasn't spending enough time on my business. I was spending too much time inside my business. And that was something that I wish I would have done a little bit differently as a contractor.
Yeah, super understandable and so common in the construction industry. It's, you set the best laid plan, but there's always something that comes up, and things always seem to take longer than they do. And one of the good reasons to have proper reporting and tracking of hours, so you do have that history of, we've done a similar project, it took this long. Oh, why did that happen? Well, these issues or problems came up, or we had delays on this, and then you can have a better outlook looking forward. What do you think now, like looking back, what would you have changed up, or what things could you have done differently?
It sounds funny now, but I never really used technology in my construction business. And the main reason was I was so busy in my business that I wasn't taking the time to implement a technology, a system, a process for my business. And I think now what I've learned, especially with working with a number of construction companies inside of our business, is the ones that are either the most profitable or the most effective are the ones that are really embracing technology and then really building out processes in their company that are there. What I see that they're doing is that they're reducing the number of friction points within their business. So it's like there's no second guessing inside your business. And I see that in certain construction companies that are doing that incredibly well. The employees know exactly what they're required to do, what's expected of them, how they're supposed to interact with customers, how they're supposed to interact with different partners within their business. And then from the manager or owner's perspective, they're able to get a really good sense of where their business is at any point in time and what their project roadmap looks like. And I think I could have done a far better job of scaling up my business had I taken a lot of that into account early on. And so we never used a project management software. I was old school, and I was like, I can do this on Excel spreadsheets. And there were so many things that would have been a lot easier had I used project management software, a good CRM, a good accounting software that told me a lot of this data. And I think if I had to do it again, those are the tools that I would start right from the beginning, so that I could build a scalable business that I didn't have to physically work in every day, that I could actually build something where we could grow it up instead of just be like a flat organization.
Yeah, I love how you articulated that, and how you mentioned, no one's second guessing, right? There's a process, there's a system, there's a way of doing things. You need a new employee, you've got the hiring system and you put it into play. If, you need to manage multiple different projects and you grow, you use your systems to grow. And employees know how they should be communicating, what they should be doing, how they should be, filling in their time entries if they have to do that, or if construction clock takes care of it. Everybody, shouldn't say everybody, but most everybody in the construction industry works hard, right? But some of that hard work is learning new things and embracing, like you said, technology, even if it's not second nature, or, you're all thumbs and not sure, how to get things started. Sometimes the hard work is just trying something new and trying, different systems or processes or technology and working on the business, even if it's uncomfortable. Because I think a lot of people kind of stay in their lane and they're comfortable doing the management themselves because they have their own idea and way to do things, but they've never really used the technology, and it's that barrier to get started, but it's what's kind of needed to grow a business and get some of those things off the business owner's plate. They're not doing everything every day. But yeah, really well said. And I feel like such a common place. I call it the contractor catch-22. It's like you're too busy to work on your business because you're working, for your business, managing everything. Either you're managing the projects because you're super busy, or you're trying to get out there and get sales and bring in sales because you're not busy enough and trying to get work for the guys. And then, all the other stuff that should be focused on doesn't get focused on. But yeah, moving on. So you guys recently had a strategic alliance and are working with Company Cam. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what that kind of brings to the table to, connect with Construction Clock?
Yeah. So when we started this a year and a half ago, we were looking at construction softwares that had done it extremely well that we wanted to kind of use as our North Star. This was my first tech company. I was looking at who out there is also serving the same target customer as us, which is small and medium-sized subcontractors. And Company Cam popped up right away, and they had done an incredible job of making a very effective and very simple app. And what they focused on was photo management on job sites. And you know how important documenting the project is in construction. And so they had solved this real pain point of documentation on site, and they were project-based, and you were able to add your employees onto the app. And it was kind of the same concept as us, but we were doing the time tracking side of things. They're doing photo management. And I reached out to them last summer and I was like, look, you guys have this great app that needs a partner like us, because we have the same customer and all of your customers have time tracking pain points inside their business. We have built the first fully automated time tracking app. And so we went down there and we showed it to them and we did a demo. And I think they were blown away by how innovative we were. So started working on an integration. And so our two apps fully integrate. So if you create a project inside of Company Cam, it creates a project inside of Construction Clock. And so the companies that are coming over from Company Cam right now, when they download Construction Clock, all their projects get carried over and they're automatically locked in from like the very first moment that they sync up the two apps. And so that partnership made so much sense for us at this time. And we feel like that's such a great company that they've built. I think they have 150,000 users that use the app every day. And we look up to Company Cam and the team over there like crazy. So on our side, we definitely push Company Cam to our customers, and the two apps are very complementary to each other.
Sounds like a really good, team and partnership, and ultimately the clients are winning, right, from either side, and the syncing from one app to the other is just awesome. And a good lesson even for contractors, their business owners, is looking for people in your network or people that have different service than you, but similar clients and connecting. And you never know where, a collaboration or partnership could go. And, at least maybe sharing referrals, but even possibly, having some sort of other strategic alliance with marketing or whatever. So very, very cool to see that. Can you tell us like a story of a success story of a client who's, was maybe like yourself, not embracing technology and just kind of managing everything, and then they used Construction Clock in their business and the impact that it had on them?
Yeah, so when we started this, we had what's called an MVP. I didn't know this term when we started, but it's called a minimum viable product. And we had built this very basic version of our app today. And I went out, I'm from Manitoba, so I went out to every construction company I knew in Manitoba, and I said, you guys got to try this app. And there was a lot of hesitancy because, tracking people's time, that has to be something that is accurate. And so just trying a new product is a little bit scary to most people, and trusting a new product. And so we convinced probably like 30 companies in Manitoba to jump onto this. And we had a very basic version of our app, and the responses that we were getting from our customers very early on, like there was a company that had 20 employees, and they were texting their hours to the owner every single day, and the owner was writing it down in his notepad. And he called me up after they ran their first pay period using our app, and he said, I have my Saturday mornings back. He said, I used to take 4 hours every Saturday morning and make sure that everybody's hours made sense, and then like figure out what projects they were working on, and there was so much administrative nonsense happening there. And he said, I have 4 hours every Saturday that I get to spend with my kids now. And that was huge for us. So what we realized very early on is what we're actually selling them with our solution is we're giving them more time back. As an owner, you've ran a construction company, and you know this as well as I do, is we just want more time in our week, because that's the one thing as a construction owner that we just don't get enough of. And so giving owners more time back to be able to focus on the rest of their life or other parts of their business is what I feel it's the biggest success of what we've built here. And that is the most rewarding part, hearing companies whose owners get 4 hours a week back doing admin work. That is our success.
Yeah, wonderful story, and very touching, like you said, where it's sometimes owners don't even realize it's kind of, they just you're working hard and you're trying to just get stuff done in your business, and not even aware that there are these types of technologies or apps available that are actually quite easy to use. There's always going to be an implementation period of getting everybody on board, but once it gets set up, it's just another system in the business that runs well and saves everybody time and time, but also even just brain space of not one less thing to kind of think or worry about. So very, very great, success story there, and applaud your efforts with Construction Clock to help contractors get their time back. So that said, what's the best way for our audience, other contractors out there, to get in contact with you or learn more about Construction Clock?
Yeah, so we have our website at constructionclock.com. Anybody can jump on there and have a 2-week free trial of our app. And it's like no credit card required. You can just try the app for 2 weeks. Somebody in our company will reach out to you at some point in those 2 weeks and just see how it's going. And you can check us out on our Instagram account. That's mostly where we post at Construction Clock app. And we are constantly pumping out videos of our customers and their success stories. And we encourage, if you're thinking about automated time tracking and you're like, I'm skeptical of this, jump onto our YouTube or our Instagram and watch how we've worked with some of these companies to save them a ton of time and how simple it really is. So I encourage everybody to try the app for yourself and see if it's the right fit for your company, because oftentimes we're finding that there is a ton of time and energy to be saved by using a tool like ours. And so, jump onto our website and try the app for free. And I think people will be blown away at how incredibly simple it is to set up and use with your company.
Awesome. So we'll put some links in the description below here to the website, your Instagram, anything else that's relevant to get connected. And by all means, get some of your time back, go get signed up. It's free to try and, see if it's a good fit for yourself. Thanks so much for coming on here, David. And we'll see everybody on the next episode. Take care.
I really appreciate it, Derek. Thank you. Bye for now.